So the biggest crypto influencers are predicting an isolated gaming crypto pump. And without a doubt, there are cryptos out there in the gaming niche that will 10x to 100x our portfolio, but of course we must know which tokens to buy. And that seems to be the hard part, especially because there's so many different tokens. And then there's countless amounts of information flying around Twitter and YouTube telling you which ones are the right ones. So how are we supposed to know which ones are going to be the 100x gains and which ones are destined to go to zero? You know, the difference between the magic token and the fate and arenas. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I would buy if I had just $1,000 to spend in the gaming crypto niche. And I'm actually putting my money where my mouth is because I'm putting $1,000 of my own money into these tokens so that we can track the progress of these projects over time here on this channel. All I ask in return is you hit that like button down below, put on your $1,000 hat, and let's jump in. Now, first things first, and I know what you might be thinking. Why the hell should you listen to me? And put it simply as possible, you shouldn't. But of course, you're watching this video, so you must care about my opinion a little bit. But I just want you to know that I am not an expert. I do like to track what the experts in the crypto gaming niche are saying and buying, and then I like to go and test their theses against each other to see exactly which influencers know what they're talking about and the ones that are just faking. I've also been breaking down the top 1,000 cryptocurrencies by market cap inside of my Patreon. And we've actually just finished the last wave of crypto games, meaning I've researched, broken down, and ranked every single cryptocurrency game there is out there in the top 1,000 against each other. So I have definitely done a lot of research and I've actually made some pretty decent calls recently. But I don't trust myself to nail this list, so you definitely shouldn't do that either. Instead, use this list as a research-provoking tool. But there is actually something very valuable that I did come across in all of my research. And that's a way to trade these gaming cryptos with an insurance policy. Meaning even if we're totally wrong and the coin's eventually going to go to zero, we can still profit. But I'll explain more on this later in the video. Now, secondly, we really need to define the goal of the $1,000 portfolio. Are we trying to turn it to $1 million? Are we trying to turn it to $10,000? Or are we just trying to not lose money? Because all of these goals would have very different looking tokens in them. For example, if we just don't want to lose money, we should just put our $1,000 into the S&P 500. And if your goal is to turn the $1,000 into $1 million, well, first of all, I respect that. But the moonshots that we would need to gamble on to 1,000x our portfolio would just be nuts. These would be gaming tokens that are under $1 million fully diluted market cap right now, and that would be like the NBA running their draft on babies instead of college basketball athletes. We just know a whole lot less about the talent and the potential of these tokens at a $1 million market cap than we do at a $10 million market cap. But if you do want to see the 1000x DGen portfolio, comment DGen portfolio in the comments below, and if we get 30 comments, we'll make this video here on the channel for you. But for now, these tokens will be my personal preferences when trying to turn $1,000 into $10,000. And the very last thing before we start this list, if you're putting $1,000 into gaming crypto but don't have $100,000 to your name, you should build yourself an asset to get financially free first. Focus on building a business in Web 2 or Web 3, build up your skill set, your passive income, and invest a single-digit percentage of your net worth on the side, because that's how you become truly free. So there are 10 total tokens in this gaming portfolio, and their fully diluted market caps, which is the best way to look at these cryptocurrencies, range from over 600 million all the way down to 12 million. So let's reveal the list in that order, largest market cap to smallest. So the first token on our list with the largest market cap is called Magic. And Magic is a gaming production company with many games already under their belt, produced with a fantastic Japanese aesthetic. They have an extremely passionate fan base, and they have over 100,000 current players and boast of a 101% quarter-over-quarter growth in players. When we first added the Magic token to our crypto madness sheet in our Patreon, it was at $55 million market cap, but it's been on a meteoric rise ever since. In fact, it's currently sitting at over a $600 million market cap. So why am I adding this to the 10x portfolio? Well, I think it's such a well-run project that I can see this crossing the $1 billion market cap plus in the next bull cycle, especially considering Axie and Decentraland hit $10 billion and $6.8 billion market caps respectively in the last bull market. And honestly, I really just want exposure to this project to track what they're doing, how they're innovating, so I can see other projects coming up in their wake that look similar. So I'll add just 5% of our portfolio to the Magic token, which is of course $50. The next token on the list is Ultra, and we should all have heard of Ultra by now. Ultra is a blockchain game distribution company, and you can think of Ultra's ultimate mission is to break Steam's monopoly on PC game distribution by implementing superior features and new opportunities for developers, gamers, and influencers made possible by the blockchain. It has an absolutely all-star team, a very promising monetization strategy, and they've been working hard throughout the bear market to innovate and continue to build on their products. They obviously have a really solid market cap already, but if Gala can get to a $1.6 billion fully diluted value, I think there's quite a bit of room for Ultra to grow. Maybe even up to the $1 billion mark with the right market sentiment, especially considering that game production companies like Gala have to produce their own games or pay for someone to produce them for them, where a company like Steam operates more like the Apple App Store, where they just host the most popular games in town and just take a percentage of the sales or the NFT royalties. So we'll be picking up 8% or $80 worth of the Ultra token for our portfolio. The next highest market cap on this list is one you probably heard of before. Again, it's VULCAN Forged. Now, VULCAN Forged is a Web3 production company that actually produces their own games, just like Gala. And I like these companies because they have more than one crack at getting it right. If you're just a single game, you have to make sure your game is awesome and perfect and working in order for it to take off. But if you're like VULCAN Forge, you can keep creating little games until you just hit one out of the park. And of course, they have more potential utility for their token since they branch across game ecosystems and marketplaces. However, very controversial take, I don't actually like the fundamentals of VULCAN Forge very much. I did a full breakdown of this project here on the channel and actually wasn't a big fan of their technology, considering they're already valued at over $200 million. So Benji, why are you buying their token if you're not a big fan? Well, this might be the most important point of the whole video. It's because the fundamentals matter a whole lot less than their social narrative. And you may already be aware, but the largest gaming crypto influencer, Alex Becker, loves VULCAN Forged. In fact, the founder of VULCAN Forge actually attributes a lot of their success to the support of Alex Becker. And this is exactly why we've set up wallet tracking and portfolio tracking software for our Patreons, so we know what the people who can actually move the market hundreds of millions of dollars are investing in before they shield their tokens to all their fans. But I'll tell you more about that strategy at the end of the video, because during the last bull run, Alex Becker actually called VULCAN Forge at $46, saying it could be a good buy. And right now it's under $4, so we're going to be putting 5% or $50 of our total portfolio allocation to the PIA token, which is the native token of VULCAN Forge, because I know when the market turns and Alex Becker starts making videos and pointing out these tokens, that this one could fly. The next token on our list is AAVEGOTCHI, and AAVEGOTCHI is a simple gamified DeFi project, sort of like Tamagotchi meets crypto gaming and DeFi. It's very well designed, has a really loyal fan base, and honestly is just really hard to fault. It scored a 48.5 during our Crypto Madness breakdown and has been pumping ever since. It's up 44% in the last 30 days alone, which is a lot considering the size of its current market cap. But during the last bull market, AAVEGOTCHI saw an incredible all-time high of 229 million, which means it is only down 2.8x from its peak, which could be a fantastic sign that it's got some legs to run in the next bull wave. But because the market cap is up to $70 million already, we're going to be giving this just 10% allocation. Now the next token, I haven't actually been a big Metaverse fan historically. I do enjoy Sandbox, but more for its likeness to Minecraft than the fact that it's a metaverse. And I'm definitely not anti-metaverse, but I think it's such a huge goal for any project to tackle, and they really only get one shot at it. But in terms of narrative trading, the metaverse is huge, probably the strongest in gaming. And like I mentioned earlier, a strong narrative is far better than strong fundamentals. Just take a look at Dogelon on Mars, which hit a $1.25 billion all-time high. And so to get exposure to this metaverse narrative in our portfolio, we're picking not our favorite metaverse, that might be a project called Affen, but a metaverse that doesn't have insane 5x to 30x inflation coming over the next couple of years. In fact, RFOX, the token we're adding to our portfolio, is almost fully vested. Now, we first called RFOX on this channel at half a cent, and since then it's continued to rise over 2 cents, going from a $10 million market cap to almost a $40 million market cap. The CEO of RFOX has some experience in some pretty legit companies like Virgin and Grab, and now aspires to be a global leader in immersive metaverse experiences focused on retail, media, gaming, and rewards. They have a really cool looking NFT project, big ambitious goals, and are on track to executing their roadmap. Because this is our only exposure to the biggest narrative in crypto gaming, we're allocating 15% of our portfolio to RFOX, which takes us onto DERACE. Again, if you follow this channel or any of these social narratives in the gaming space, you've probably heard of this one quite a few times. It's a solid horse racing based project with a virtuous closed gameplay loop, meaning sustainable value even though it's play to earn. How do they do this? Well, it's essentially just gambling on horse races with a little bit of skill involved in breeding them. And people love to gamble even if they're losing. Because you can imagine if this was a side-scroller game in Web3 where you lost money every time you played, you probably would stop playing pretty quickly. But the gambling element of these Web3 games would really keep people hooked in sort of a very sad way. But beyond this simple and effective gameplay, DERACE is once again a huge social play, because you probably heard the word DERACE out of Alex Becker's mouth more than a dozen times. And you could almost match up the graph of of when DERACE skyrockets to when Alex Becker recommends it to his millions of fans. DERACE currently has a valuation of a $22 million fully diluted market cap, and Alex actually recently mentioned he could see it going past its all-time high of $7.80, which would give it a 30x ROI from here. So we're peppering 70% or $70 of our portfolio into DERACE. And that takes us to RMRK. And this is the biggest allocation of any token in this portfolio. And I really love RMRK because they're building these shovels for the gold diggers. Infrastructure and powerful technology that other crypto gaming companies will adopt and use inside their games. They have tech like nesting NFTs, meaning an NFT can actually own another NFT, which has insane application. On-chain emotes, meaning that interactions with NFTs are actually stored on the blockchain and can trigger events. And multi-source NFTs, meaning one file or one NFT, multiple formats depending on what context they're used in. A great example for this is you buy a book on Amazon, and if you open it on Kindle, you get the ebook. If you open it on Audible, you get the audiobook version. And if you open it in a super secret place somewhere in the world, you get a treasure map that leads you to a signed copy. And when games adopt any of these technologies, they will need the RMRK token to power it. In fact, even making this list and seeing RMRK at just a 28 million fully diluted market cap makes me pretty excited for it. It's one of those projects that you come across like Trias and you look at it and you're like, why is its market cap so small compared to the other? And then you return a month later and it's done a 3 or 5x and you're like, oh, that makes sense. So I'm allocating 30% or $300 of our total $1,000 portfolio to the RMRK token, which takes us down to PHANTASMA. And PHANTASMA is a well-known, fully audited layer 1 eco-friendly smart contract blockchain for smart NFTs, blockchain gaming, and Web3. They hit a $500 million market cap in the last bull market, but right now it's sitting at a $22 million fully diluted value. Now, I do think there are some risks here. I do think PHANTASMA has tried to take on a little bit too much at once, but they have done some really awesome things in certain areas, including their very own smart NFTs, which they claim allows creators to have recurring payments, something not seen in the Web3 space yet, but would be massive if it's implemented properly. So we're committing 10% of our portfolio to the SOL token, which takes us to KOMPETE with a K. Now, KOMPETE has a relatively small, fully diluted market cap at just 18 million, but it is a relatively simple game or mini metaverse. It's sort of got GTA style graphics and is centered around sports and mini games, and you could see a game like this picking up with a younger audience and a lot of niche fans. But KOMPETE is almost entirely another social play in our portfolio. Why? Because it did a 4 times ROI in the middle of a bear market because of one interaction between two influencers. Crypto God John tweeted to Alex Becker the name KOMPETE. Alex Becker simply just liked this tweet, and in response, over the next 30 days, the KOMPETE token rallied, giving you a 4 times ROI on your investment. Once again, this is the power of social narrative trading, but also the power of a really small market cap crypto such as KOMPETE, which was just at a $4 million market cap before the tweet. So we're snapping up $50 worth or 5% of our total portfolio into the KOMPETE token because it's yet to have seen a bull market. Which takes us to the final token in our portfolio, and this is the FEAR token, and it's sort of the Hail Mary of all the tokens in this list. It might even make that degen portfolio. Now, Hail Marys are sometimes good because you throw it into the end zone and you catch it and you win the game with one last final effort, but also things can go really bad, and we might end up just throwing this ball straight into the ground. But this gaming token is called FEAR, and I like it because they're a blockchain development company creating multiple titles under an umbrella of horror game. Now, I'm not a big horror fan myself, but I know based on PewDiePie's audience that they have a lot of fans. And FEAR have also actually created a horror film section of their project where they're incubating horror films across a range of different categories. The project's also shown some decent potential with a couple of recent rallies going from 7 cents to 19 cents. And once again, it's only got a $12 million fully diluted market cap value. So in case FEAR decides it's going to be our next magic, I'm going to be adding 5% or $50 to our total portfolio. Now, it's important for you to note this is our portfolio if we had to invest this $1,000, because in reality, if I wasn't making this video, I'd actually keep 90% of this $1,000 on the side in a USDC or other stablecoin. We could get much better returns using the 2 powerful crypto gaming investment techniques that I talked about in this video. The first is a social insurance policy, and the second is the social narrative trading. You see, during the bull market, every single NFT that Gary Vee recommended 4x'd in 2 weeks. And also during that market, every single cryptocurrency that Alex Becker recommended on his channel or on Twitter had an average of 450% return, despite most of those tokens having terrible fundamentals or tokenomics. And this is where our secret social insurance policy comes into play. Not because somebody's going to come along and refund our money if the token or project dies. Because getting into a project like this at the same time as an influencer like Alex Becker gets in will give you a huge social insurance policy, because you know most of the tokens that he buys, he's then going to recommend to his millions of followers who are just going to become exit liquidity. And why does this tie into the social narrative? Because there is no better crunchy narrative than one of the biggest gaming crypto influencers backing a token. You've seen Alex Becker put millions of dollars into projects just from one single tweet. And so by following the biggest influencers, whether that be Elon or Alex or even Elio Trade, you can get some massive upside with very little research. And this is why we've set up portfolio and wallet trackers inside of our Patreon, so you know exactly when Alex Becker buys and what he buys. And this is all before he recommends it to his millions of fans. We also have rising token breakdowns, an awesome community, and crypto cheat sheets that are designed to save you weeks of research in trying to find what are the next legit tokens that are about to go on a run. So if you want to get ahead of the mainstream and become one of the pioneers of the Web3 revolution, I'll leave the link to our Patreon in the description below. And for everybody else, keep enjoying the free stuff.